Hello, kindergarten. So let's go ahead and let's read our question of the week again today. It says, what tools are needed to build things? Well, we need different tools to build different things. In front of us right here, I borrowed some of Mr. Jake's tools. I thought I'd show you what he has laying around because I have watched Mr. Jake build things before and I've watched him fix things before. Mostly he fixes things. He's really good at that. So I brought along some of his tools to show you what he uses. He uses a tape measure. He's really good at measuring things. He always says measure twice. That's a good rule. He uses a hammer. This is a really heavy hammer. He also uses a screwdriver sometimes. I mostly use a paintbrush. Mr. Jake, if he's building something or fixing something and it needs to be painted, he usually asks me to paint. But a paintbrush would be my tool so I can help paint something, make it look nice. He also has a saw. This is a hand saw. Now, Mr. Jake also has a really big table saw too. And then he also has, this drill. This thing is really heavy, kindergarten. So, if Mr. Jake were to hang a picture on a wall, which one of these tools do you think he would need? Which tool do you think he would need to hang a picture on a wall? Well, the first thing he would probably want to do is measure to make sure that he's hanging the picture in the right spot. We don't want a picture to be all the way over on the side of a wall or way down below. He wants to make sure that he's measuring so it's in the right spot. Then, maybe if the picture isn't super duper heavy, he would use a hammer to hammer in a nail. But if the picture is really, really heavy, he might need to use a drill to drill in a screw in the wall because a screw is going to be way more sturdy than a nail. Kindergarten, I know that when Mr. Jake uses his tools, he is very careful. He wears some protective gear. One thing that he wears, he has these awesome protective gloves that he wears when he works. And it looks like he just bought himself some new ones. I don't even think he's used these yet. Something else that I know that he wears, if there's going to be lots and lots of dust, because he doesn't want to breathe in all that dust, that's not good for his lungs. I know that he wears a face mask. That way, he's not breathing in anything that's bad for his lungs. I also know that if Mr. Jake and his dad are working on something, mostly outside, he might wear knee pads so that he doesn't hurt his knees or scuff them up. And sometimes he also needs to wear protective eye gear like goggles so that he doesn't get anything in his eyes either. So kindergarten, these are some of the tools that maybe you see around your house too. Let's talk about two of them. Kindergarten, let's look at our pictures and let's see if we can find the picture that shows the word saw. If you're sawing something, which tool would you need? You would need this big silver tool with the wooden handle right here. This is a hand saw. We say it's a hand saw because you have to use your hand. You have to go back and forth. What do you think you use a saw on? Would you use it on a window? Probably not glass. Ooh, not a good idea. You use a saw on wood, maybe to saw down a tree. Maybe there's part of the tree you need if you're building something. Or a plank of wood. You maybe need to saw that plank of wood. So kindergarten, this is a hand saw. I have one of Mr. Jake's hand saws right here. This is a small saw. If you look really closely, there are teeth on here, and they're so little. The teeth on this one are a little bit bigger. That is what cuts through the wood when you go back and forth, back and forth. That's what's going to cut through the wood. So kindergarten, this is just a little saw, so you would probably saw a small piece of wood. This one's a little bit bigger, so maybe you need to saw a bigger piece of wood. In kindergarten, there are really big saws that are not hand saws, they are machines. Here's a picture of one. Have you ever seen a saw like that around your house or at a construction site? They're really heavy duty, and you absolutely have to make sure that you have protective gear. So only make sure that the grown-ups with protective gear are using them. Our next word today, kindergarten, is a drill. Do you see a picture here that shows drill? This one is a drill, kindergarten. It probably doesn't look like any drill you've ever seen before. This right here is a drill. This is a hand drill. So that means that you hold your hand up here. This kind of looks like a doorknob. You hold it up here, and then you hold your hand. I'll leave this for just a second. You hold your hand on this part too, and then you go around and around and around, and that's how you drill using this hand drill. Well, people don't use those too often anymore. Instead, they use the power drills. These things are really super heavy duty, kindergarten, and I have seen Mr. Jake use this one a lot. This is a really cool power drill. So it has a lot of power to it, and it has this little trigger right here, and you press it with your finger, and you can make it go really fast, or you can make it go really slow. You can also make it go backwards to take a screw out of something too. Remember, kindergarten, only your grown-ups should be using the power tools, okay? Only your grown-ups should be handling any kind of tools at all. If you build something around your house, make sure that you have permission from your grown-up, make sure that they are with you when you're building, and make sure that you have the right protective gear. You want to stay safe. Kindergarten, before we read our awesome story one more time, let's check out our comprehension skill for the week. It says, I can describe the characters. Remember, a character is a person or anything that acts like a person in our story. So, I have Jesus right here. We've read lots of stories about Jesus. What are some words or adjectives we can use to describe him? We could say that Jesus was kind. We could say that he was a son. He was God's son. We could say that he was happy. I think Jesus was happy. We could say that he was friendly. We know all of that from the stories that we've read about Jesus. So kindergarten, let's go and let's read our story, Old MacDonald Had a Woodshop, one more time.